Camera angles. No, this. Yep. Okay. All right then. All right. Hello everyone. So today we're going to be doing a sketchbook tour. It feels like ages since I've done a sketchbook tour. Um, so a few things. I did clean off my table. That's why there is still some. It hasn't fully dried yet. Anyway, so I had to get rid of some white splatters because if you look at my channel, I've been doing a lot of watercolor winter paintings, and I've been using a lot of white ink to do snow splatters, and it gets everywhere. So today I'm going to be doing a sketchbook tour. I think this one has like 4 pages left that are unfinished. The sketchbook, my current sketchbook that will definitely be going in 2026. I'll be still using it. So basically, this is my last 2025 sketchbook where all the sketches and drawings were done in this year. So a few things before I start. Skip if you just want to get to the tour. The front cover is a complete mess. This is masking fluid. I spilled masking fluid on the table, and my book, was open like this, and it was flatter at the time, and it seeped under. And I tried to do my best to like wash it off, but this fabric is incredibly difficult because like you can still see there's like chunks on it. And imagine this book all clean and pristine, like a lovely pastel pink colour with a golden rose. It's a beautiful, beautiful journal. That's why I'm always skeptical about buying really fancy, beautiful journals, because I know that I'm such a clumsy artist. The chances are the cover will be ruined at some point, no matter how careful I am. So I remember just sitting there watching this masking fluid. Literally, I remember just watching this masking fluid just pool under my sketchbook, and it was like time froze. I just sat there and watched as it slowly started coming towards the edge of my table. Yeah. So that was fun. I did clean it up, but I only have this much left, and that will still last me. That's still quite a bit left, but yeah. They're quite expensive here. I don't know what it is in dollars. Over here they're £8, or at least in the art shops they're £8 to £9. I only really get them if they're on a deal. Let me know what that is in dollars. If there's any Americans watching, let me know what that is, and whatever it converts into, is that class as expensive? I don't know. I just thought, I don't know, maybe £9, in my opinion, might be a bit much. I don't know. Anyway, now we're on to the actual sketching part. The tour part. So this journal, the paper is 160 GSM, and it's advertised as a watercolour journal, which baffled me because normally when I've bought watercolour journals in the past, they're no less than 200, or at least I've never come across a proper watercolour journal that's less than 200 GSM, and 300 up to 300, from 250 to 300 you're getting really good, hopefully you're getting really good quality watercolour paper. So I was really confused, but this was advertised as a watercolour journal. So I took a chance with it, and I will say it actually, sorry, hang on a minute, sorry. I will say it actually does very well. Sorry. It does very well. I really like how the paper works. It does take a lot of water. Is it absolutely fantastic watercolor paper where you can do layers and layers and layers of watercolor? No, but it works for me. So now this sketchbook is by the same company, My Stationery, and this is my current sketchbook, so it's not fabricked. This is also 160, so I bought this out of interest because I wanted to see. This is just advertised as just sketchbook, so it's just sketchbook, whereas this one was advertised as watercolor journal, yet they had the same GSM paper. So, but this sketchbook, although it's just advertised as one, it does say watercolour finish, so that intrigued me. But anyway, both books do fantastic with watercolour. Right, so there's that bit out of the way. I think I found this journal a struggle, not because of any of the paper, simply because, I don't know, my last sketchbook where I painted the front cover in gouache, I filled almost every single day. Like, I don't know, it was just a really big hobby. Nothing else was interesting me. I wasn't playing video games as much, or reading, or watching TV. Drawing was basically my hobby all day, every day. And then I got to this one, and I don't know, I was excited at the start to fill it up, and then I think I just, like, not art block, because it wasn't art block like I wanted to paint, but I just couldn't. I actually just didn't want to. So I didn't get to do a lot of videos because I didn't want to. I don't know. But now we're actually on the top. I'm very sorry. How long have I been yapping for? Goodness knows. Also, another thing, it's a very murky day. It's overcast and gloomy, and it's in the middle of the day, and I still have to use my ring light so you can see, because it's really dark. I hope you can see well enough. Right, how long have I... Oh, 6 minutes. If you've actually listened to all of that, I'm giving you a thumbs up, because wow, 6 minutes of me talking. Right, okay. Let me move it so you can see it. Yeah, alright. So we just have, obviously, very posh it belongs to. If you find it, please contact. I didn't fill that in because I don't take my sketchbooks out to do a lot of plein air, so it would never really get lost unless someone robbed me, and I'm not sure who would rob a sketchbook. So when I first got it, this was obviously my testing page, so I bought some new Pilot pens, some markers, or some sort of pens that I did not that I didn't write down what the name was, so goodness knows what pens they were. And then testing watercolour, because obviously at this point I didn't know the watercolour paper at 160 was actually going to be really good. So, hang on, is this in frame? This is a disaster already. Alright, there we go, that fits. If I don't move it, just turn the pages. So, and then you have gouache, and then we have ink, and I was just playing around. And obviously with these books they have a little bit of a bend from where that page is. Okay, so this is where I really tested the watercolour. This is my pen, my fountain pen and watercolour technique that I love to do, where I draw first and then I put watercolour on top, and it kind of melts together depending on how dry I've let the fountain pen be. So that was my first test on really throwing water on it, and that was when I realised that it really did take water really well. This painting here is, oh no, that's part of it, is gouache. It's a gouache landscape. Not too much to say. I think I had some leftover gouache and I was just using it. Here we have a butterfly, a speckled wood. I tried to do just in colouring pencils. Some of the colours are a bit off, and I've mentioned many times I'm not too good at colouring pencils straight as coloured pencils with no other medium. Normally I use them on top of watercolour. So, and that was the 15th of the 7th. Wow, that feels ages away, ages ago. Second page. So this was the painting, which I like now. This was the painting that kind of, I don't know, it didn't cause me, like I was waffling about before, it didn't cause me to stop wanting to do art or anything, but this is the painting where I don't know, that's when I started to feel maybe burnt out is the best way to describe it. On this side we have a sketch of a bird that I never finished. So I think I was just doing where you just splatter some watercolour and do a sketch over the top, and I was happy to just leave it as a sketch. I also remember this is really thick because these are 2 pages stuck together. I did some Red Dead Redemption fan art and I was going to do like a full painting, and it was the first attempt of like a portrait, and it still wasn't realistic as such. And I really like the sketch. I really love the sketch. And I actually remember there was Arthur Morgan here. There was the mountains in the background, like a landscape. There was a deer on top of the mountain, you know, for the symbolism, depending on whether you are honourable or not. And I messed it up. I really messed it up. I was so disappointed. Maybe that didn't help with the burnout as well. And then I covered it with black gouache to try and do just the deer, and I messed that up too. And I think that might have been the start of me kind of I don't know. I think burnt out's the best way to put it. And then here we have again these pieces. As you can see, that aren't intricate because I'm burnt out. I was just testing different pens, and again I didn't write what pens I used, so I don't know what pens they were. I believe these might have been some watercolor. They're watercolor like pastels. They were interesting. I've still got them. I haven't used them since. And just a simple flower painting. And then here we are. This is acrylic paint pens. I've been using acrylic paint pens just for accents in my paintings, like my watercolour paintings for the landscape. I would add the acrylic markers to add flowers. I'd never drawn something just with acrylic markers, so this is me testing how that worked, and I love how it turned out. It's just the rest of the page is a bit messy, so I tried to do some wildflowers here. Pen grass, I think these were supposed to be tulips, and then whatever that was, and then this great big black abyss was meant to cover a Crayola landscape I didn't like. Right, so this is when I got a Pilot pen, and I love those pens, so I was having a blast drawing with it. So this was completely blank. This painting was actually done it must have been a couple of months afterwards actually, or a couple of weeks or something like that. But it's all nice and loose, and I really like how it turned out. It filled the page really well because I had no idea what else I was going to do on the page. So here we go. This is, I did this poppy painting ages ago, and I wanted to try it again over here, and I didn't like how it came out. I preferred the darker colours in the background, so I gave it another shot, and that still didn't turn out how I liked it either. I think we're still on the stages of burnt out. And then these are Kuretake metallic watercolours that I hadn't used in ages, and I thought I had some spare black paper, so I did some testing. And these are some glitter pens that I bought, and you can see they were such a disappointment. I haven't touched them again. They did not glitter at all. Then we have oh goodness, what's the name of this flower? I love these flowers. Hydrangea, there we go. I did a hydrangea painting. So this one was done first, this one. And the colours were bleak to me. I didn't like the colours. So I tried it again, and I hated those colours even more. I just wasn't feeling it at the time. And here's another page of burnt out. Tried to do hydrangea again in a new pen that I got. I did write it here, but I also covered it. This was Crayola. I think it covered something underneath. Pen doodles. I started with the idea of going to draw a landscape with only pens that I had to make, you know, layer to get colours. Didn't work out. These. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a second. Hang on a minute. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Oh. There we go. Are the CSY, sorry, Art Gallery watercolours that I treated myself to. They're metallics, and these were me. There's a pigeon on my windowsill, if you can hear it. I feed the birds, and they're quite noisy, so if you can hear them. They're probably getting food or nagging me to give them food. It's one or the other. So this was these sparkly paints. So I tried them on white, and then I got some spare black paper and did the same thing. And this took forever, sticking down all of their names. And then again, this is me using them. So it's lavender, I think. I just went for a flowery shape, and then I quite like this one. It's very simple, but it's really pretty, and it shows how pretty the shine is. And then I did the grid painting. If you you can find loads of videos and inspiration online on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Plenty of people do it, and I loved watching them do it, and I thought, well, I'll try it for myself. So I ended up doing this with my new sparkly paint. That's one of my favourites, and so is that one. And here's the thing, at the time, a little side note, at the time I was still burnt out, but I was trying to get myself out of the burnt out. I wanted to do a video on showing these and demonstrating them. This was actually a video I recorded this, and it just didn't work out. Little burnt out page. Messy page. Couldn't think of a way to fix it, so I left it. Patchwork. I was planning a big clover illustration, but that didn't go as I planned. Yeah, so there was a painting under here that was meant to be loose watercolour clovers that I messed up. I then drew pen around those clovers, and I didn't like how it looked. I then painted a gouache clover on top, and I didn't like how it looked. I then added paint marker on top of it, and I didn't like it. Do you see where this is going? I didn't like how it looked. I then did some coloured patchwork that wasn't this colour. They were different colours under there, and I didn't like the colour scheme, which was funny because at this point the page had no colour scheme going. It was a mess, so I thought that was funny anyway. And then I used acrylic marker to draw on top of the patchwork that I already didn't like, and I still didn't like the page. Yeah, that was yeah. There we go. But if you're fed up of hearing me talk about pages I didn't like, I love these pages. So this was me trying to get back into loose watercolour. Like I said, on the other pages I was struggling. I didn't like my art and how it was going. But this painting, I think it's really pretty. It's very simple, and you can't really, say, oh yes, those are definitely flowers. But I can see it, and it made me happy. These are Crayola landscapes. I love this one. This is, if you go on my channel, there's a vlog of me showing you around my grandmother and granddad's garden. I nicknamed it the fairy garden because that's what it looks like. And I was editing it at the time, I think, or I'd been there beforehand and I was taking a photo before I actually recorded the video a couple of months later, something like that. And I tried to sketch it, but the perspective was wrong, so I did just a little simple painting here that covered it, so you can see Crayola do this. If you look under here, you can see I've attempted it a path and it wasn't quite right. So yet again, it's another painting I wasn't happy with. Then over here, this one I quite like. It's a bit more simple. Just some doodle flowers with some background paint and a red admiral butterfly, but the colours are wrong. I do realise that, unfortunately. They're a lot more brighter in their red and orange, but I think that was markers, acrylic markers that I did it with. Sorry, quick coffee break. Right, I'm back. I have a coffee next to me, and I had an image of it getting colder the more I spoke. So here's just a watercolour loose landscape that I did. And then this was a paper from a watercolour journal I bought, and it fell apart. The paper was okay, but it was a little different than I was used to. You can see where it fills the little, I don't know how to describe them, pores pores of watercolour paper. But it's good watercolour paper, but it wasn't smooth, so it was textured, so it's different to what I'm used to using. So basically just did the same painting. I did experiment. That's loose. It was meant to copy that. Copy kind of. Meant to be loose. And then this one was a bit more... It's still loose, but I tried to get more details. I was just messing around with the paper. Oh, and I love this page. It doesn't look like much, but it's... I don't know if you can see it, but it's a sketch of a bee just getting some nectar, from a flower. So I don't know, it was such a simple and sweet sketch. I was deciding whether I wanted to ink it to make it an ink illustration, but I was just so happy just leaving it as a simple sketch, so I just tried to add a little bit of white to the wings and stuff. So I am going to risk getting my sketchbook out of frame just to show you, because I think the sketch itself is quite sweet. I hope you can see it. Right, okay, now try and put it back in frame. Yeah. Is it in frame? Yes, I believe so. Yeah, that's the bottom of the sketchbook. Other pages that I was really proud of. I love how these turned out. So these are just wildflowers. So I just did some loose painting, loose watercolour painting, and then these are just my acrylic markers. And this one is basically the same acrylic markers on top of loose watercolour, but you can see I added some... What is happening? Gold sparkle. Another page that I really enjoy. It's so then we have a cockerel or a rooster, and the cockerel where I am, I think the rooster in America, I believe. And then these I go on a walk that's really close to me every day, and during the summer, once summer, it started to think these pears, I know they look like apples, but the perspective was wrong, but these pears were starting to like rot, but there was a speckled wood. Don't know if you heard that noise. There was a speckled wood drinking from the pears, and I didn't draw the speckled wood, but I do have a photograph of it, but I thought I would just sketch that little memory. Yeah, so these are the Sharpie creative markers, but these were the gemstone set. These are them, and then these are something different. These are... I bought these. I'll talk about them later on, because this was just a swatch that I went back on. So they're these, but I will talk about them a little bit more when I actually get to the drawing that I did with them. So I love this page. So I went shopping to the garden centre with my dad. So I did the date and everything, and I was just getting some pots for my garden. Actually, I just was just some gardening. So we went to this garden centre, and so I bought what are they called? You put wax. I always forget their name, but you put wax melts in the top, and you put your candle in the middle, and it melts the wax. And someone had previously bought me wax melts for my birthday or Christmas or something as a present years ago, and I had no way to actually use them, and I couldn't remember what they were called, so I couldn't find one, and this garden centre had a beautiful one just there in front of me to see. So that was this is just a tag from the pots that I bought, and then this is just a watercolour illustration with a bit of everything really. There's some acrylic marker, there might be some gouache in there, some glitter paints, there's some stickers, and there's a tiny little bee there. And then here is an anecdote, a little write that came with the pots, which is just, we can all do our bit to let me try that again. I would be great at an audiobook. We can all do our bit to support the bumblebees. Why not plant flowers rich in nectar such as lavender and bluebells, which help bees find the food they need? Ah, right, so I was reading this little bit here. I was confused for a second there. This is a sticker. That's just some black ink. So this painting was literally just a test. Masking, it works. I was testing if masking fluid worked in this sketchbook on this type of paper without ripping or anything like that, and that was my success. So I just little white flowers. This side again is another cockerel. I was gonna do a really like a gouache painting because this the top is gouache. I think so. This is watercolor. This is watercolor and gouache with some pen in it. This is also gouache. It's a messy painting, and again, can you guess it? I wasn't happy with it. So yeah, and I just had these farmer. I've got these like agricultural stickers, so I thought it made sense to put it there. Yeah, some lavender. And everything else is blank. Although there's a sketch under here and I can't tell what they are. It looks like some kind of baked bun. I'll never know. I have some ink pads and I was just testing using them. Some of them are glittery as well on some pages. I bought some new ink pens, some new fine liners, and these fine liners came with these ones that were perfect shape, and just the way that they worked did fantastic for like doing leaves and like trees. So like it was really thick but really thin, and it did fantastic doing that, and I was so excited to use them. So I did this little page. These are some stickers, and then here is that piece that I did. So there we go, the Art Studio fine liner pen, and then I wrote all of their millimeters and as they got bigger. And I think the ones that have love hearts next to them are the ones that can do this. So they can do this cool technique to do leaves and branches. So this was my little drawing with the pens. Just a person on the bridge and it's raining, and I tried to do swirls. My grandmother really loved this drawing. I quite like it. I don't think it's, you know, amazing, but then again, this whole sketchbook, that there is a certain point in this sketchbook where I started to be happy in my art again, so it's not all all bad. But then here we have trying something different. I did this I saw watching a video on YouTube of someone where they did their art with just pens, and like they'd like use different coloured pens and fill in the little sections, and I tried to do it again. I don't know, I think I gave up halfway. I think this bit here, like I was onto something, I gave up halfway and I used some butterfly stickers, and I was meant to draw around the butterflies as well. I just gave up. I definitely gave up. Did a page where you smear colours on it and then you draw something on top, and I started to, and then I just never finished it. Crayola doodles. So I think I was meant to do a Crayola piece on here, but just Crayola landscape, and then some clovers. Now this page I really like. I love how this turned out. So I did some thumbnailing for some interesting more colours. I'd seen someone else use like more really bright colourful colours for their landscapes, like colours that didn't really make sense. So I did like a bright pink sky, and as you can see I was testing different ways to use it. So this one has a pink sky, and this one has a pink sky and a lake. This has a pink sky but a rose bush. This has a white sky, but the pink is like cherry blossom. This one just has a pink river, and this is just a close-up of rose bush. Now this one here, you'll notice is orange, not pink. So the Crayola pastel set that I own, like their caps are very different to the colours. I know that's a very common thing, but like these were drastically different. So you pick up a pastel pink and you think it's a pink, but it's actually quite orange. So this ended up being orange. Now here I was going to do the big illustration from my thumbnailing. And in all honesty, I just forgot. I really just forgot about it. Another page that I really love. So I absolutely love drawing fish. The more colourful, the better. I love painting them. I've done a neon tetra about 1,000,000 times. In my other sketchbook, I did a lot of drawings of fish as well, so I did it here too. So I also wrote down the names so I could remember. I love how this one turned out. This one was beautiful and gold. So I loved using the sparkly paint. Now this one didn't turn out quite how the fish looks. I muddied the actual colours too much. I think I got so excited to use my metallic watercolours that I just kind of went for it, and it was a bit of a mistake. And then this one I didn't finish because I made a lot of mistakes on this one, so if we just pretend this one doesn't exist. And I even put there, blue rainbow fish, try again. Okay, I didn't. A fountain pen and watercolour, big loose landscape again. I love doing these. If I don't know I guess, yeah, if I'm stressed in my art and I don't know what to do, these are a good go-to because they're so simple, they're so fun, you don't have to think about it too much. I love this technique, and that's just, I don't know, my comfort technique, I guess. You want to draw something, you don't know what to draw, roughly sketch a landscape, add watercolour on top, and you're good to go. Oh, I love these pages. We weren't in autumn yet, but we were coming up to it, and I wanted to do a autumn themed page, and I love how this turned out. I love the tree. I really do. And that's just watercolour background, and this is just simple pen ink, a rollerball pen, not a ballpoint, but the thicker ink ones. Again, there were pages I didn't really finish. Oh yeah, so this might not look like much, and it's not, but I was redecorating, I was renovating and repainting my room. So my bedroom is also my art studio. It's a desk with my art stuff, an art caddy next to it with all my art stuff. That's my studio. But I was renovating, I was doing touch-ups just to my wall. And that was the name of the colour, and I was just painting, but I had some left and just put it in my sketchbook. Another cover page didn't finish. Oh, New Zealand, but Cara. I'd never heard of it before, but it was I think I'll show the next page. I love these two. This one was painted at my nan and granddad's house, and this was the painting that basically cured my burnout. This one was the painting that did it. I remember we was just sat there, they were watching the TV, and I was just sat there in the lovely armchair that they have, and it was such a simple sketch at the start, and I was just painting with the book on my lap, my watercolors resting on the armchair seat, and it was such an unsteady painting, but for some reason it turned out so nice, and it just helped me get through my burnout. I don't know. So oh, here we go. Lost my best white pen behind the table. So I was using the Sharpie Creative Marker, but they're brush tips rather than just marker pen tips, and I loved that it was so opaque and it fell behind my table. But the way my table is cramped, it's hard to get the table out without having to take out a lot of furniture, so I just kind of accepted the loss of this pen. Anyway, quick side notes, that was that. And then when I got home, because I was staying with my grandparents, when I got home I just painted another version of the same bird, just in a more looser style. So this was for Cara. It's for Bird of the Year. They do in New Zealand, and I'd never heard of it before. And basically, you can vote for your favourite bird, and then you hope that it's the Bird of the Year. Again, I don't know much about it, but I didn't vote. But in honour of it, I researched New Zealand birds that I don't get over here where I'm from, and I painted a couple. So this is one of them. It's a silver eye. And then this is another one that I painted. I think the face, I don't know, I think I messed up the face a little bit, but it's alright. Apparently these are really mischievous. Apparently they like to pull up vegetables and ruin people's gardens. Or was it this one? Oh dear, or was it this one that does the garden? No, I think it is this one. I don't know much about I love birds, but I don't know much about these ones because they're not over here, so I could be wrong on some information. So, okay, today I showed... Oh, 26th of the night. Today I showed my clumsy side. I spilled a tub of masking fluid all over my table. My sketchbook was on the table and was a victim of the fluid. Now, how did I clean it? I didn't. At least not my sketchbook, as I couldn't get it off the fabric and then I lost my fave white pen down the back of the table. I couldn't be bothered to go get it. I'm off to bed. Good night. Even my handwriting is terrible there. I think I was so fed up. Here we go. Here is it was meant to be just a black and white pen illustration. It wasn't for Inktober, but I was going to do some illustrations in ink at the time. So I wasn't doing Inktober specifically, but I was still doing... I can't remember what it was. It was some sort of draw challenge, and this one was weave. And that's the only one that I did. I did the ink, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted, so I did some colouring over the top. And it's not the best watercolour job I've ever done because this paper wasn't situated for watercolour, so I had to be gentle. And this side, I absolutely love. This sticker's really cute. I mean, it's really sweet, and you can see I basically just tried to copy the bird illustration. Nothing. This is Tamagotchi. I have gone through a Tamagotchi obsession. I had one as a kid. I did have a Tamagotchi as a kid, but I wasn't very good at it, looking after it. My mum, in all honesty, my Tamagotchi was really for my mum. She looked after it when I went to school. She looked after it when I got home because that poor thing, I never looked after it. So I found out that they had re-released the old gens. So I got the Sakura cherry one, I believe, and then I got the Tamagotchi Connection, which I love. That thing's run out of battery, which I'm sad about, but I need to put a new battery in it. But I absolutely love that one. And then the Tamagotchi Paradise came out, and I love that one too, which also ran out of battery. But all of my Tamagotchis, apart from the fact that they ran out of battery, they're all looked after. So obviously I learned how to look after them compared to when I was a kid. So this was my ink illustration practice for some of the paintings I had planned to do for November and then December, and then I'm going to carry on doing winter paintings through January and February, because it's still where I am, it's still winter, really cold and everything. Actually, interestingly enough, when everybody talks about like having a white Christmas and everything, over here December's not really ever had big snow. If we're going to get snow over here, it's normally January, February. So that really interests me when everyone's like, oh, the thing about, Christmas time, it's all snowy and everything. It's not really. It's more, December over here is just more wet with lots of rain. So this is my practice on what I was planning to do, but I ended up painting different things. So, and here we go. I was doing another pen technique. And that's very autumn. Let's see, 26 9, yeah. Oh, all right. And then we have 26, and again winter test. This was my fountain pen technique with just water like I normally do. Now the test itself wasn't the painting. I knew watercolor and water, the paper worked really well with water. Sorry, that was an interesting way of describing that. But the actual test was the tape to see if I could do a border. And obviously you see it didn't rip the paper, which I was very happy about, so that was my little test. Here we have a kingfisher sketch, and it looks really ominous without the shine in its eyes, but I just did the colours of the background of a kingfisher's wings rather than painting the wings itself. This, right, I have, it's like a Victorian makeup jar. You know, like you hold the lid and you put your powder, but it's got a candle in it, and it was my mum's. And I love the smell of the candle. I don't even know what flavour, because my mum had it for years. So I don't know where she got it from. If someone gifted it to her, I don't know. But I love the smell of the candle, and the glass jar is beautiful as well. But I was just thinking, because I don't know where it came from or what the scent is. Once I've used the candle, how do I re-find that scent? How? I don't know. So yeah, so this is just a little ink sketch of it, and then I tried to do a little bit of an orange hue in the the watercolor wash here, just to try and give the impression, you know, that it's a lit candle, even if it's got the lid on. An illustration. A forgotten page. So just another ink, a fountain pen ink wash and watercolor with a gold pen on top and some sparklies, just nice and loose. This painting has been with me for about 2 years, and it's been passed around each sketchbook and each drawer in my desks. It was just a painting where I'd seen people, they paint around the object instead of painting the object, and that was me trying to do like a daisy or something. So I just stuck it in. It finally found a place rather than just being passed around each sketchbook and each drawer. It was glued in, and that's its pride of place now. Some quick ink figure study. So man with umbrella, lady with bag, person just stood there. I don't know. Funny thing is, this is actually the back of the person, although I've drawn it badly. So, but if you look here, it looks like she's got a smiley face. That wasn't intentional. Okay, so now we are in autumn, and with I mentioned that I like the other drawing where I did a brown background, and I basically did it again. So here are some pumpkins with an orange background that I really enjoyed, and there's a little bit of sparkly glitter there as well. Right, I can't remember which one's which. Again, I didn't name them, but I got some watercolor markers. One set by themselves, and then one in a big group that came with watercolor pencils, watercolor pens, and the watercolor like chalk pastels. Like they're like soft pastels, but they're watercolor. They're soluble. They're interesting. I haven't used them that much. And just a little sketch. Again, obviously, this is the same as the other one. It's my fountain ink loose landscapes. But this one is a little different because I could tell that my fountain pen is one of the ones where you unscrew them and you put a new ink in. It's not like a dip pen where you put it. What am I doing with my hands? What are they called? I've literally got one. There's fountain pens where you put it into the ink and you screw it up, and it pulls the ink into the pen, and there's ones where you just have a tube full of ink that you just put into your pen and then you pierce it. That was a bad description. I hope that made sense. But anyway, I knew it was time to refill my ink pen, long story short. So I was using the last dregs of ink for this illustration. Toadstools. Yeah, just, I think I did some very loose colours. And it was, what's it called? There was actually like a colouring book for it where you reverse colour and you have a bunch of splodges and you draw something on top of it rather than you colour in the lines. And I think I was just doing my version of it as a doodle. This sketch here was simply a test. I bought a bunch of new pens, and I was just testing whether they were waterproof. Wow, that took me a long time. Waterproof, and unfortunately they were, which I know sounds strange, but because I like the ink and water technique, it was kind of a shame they were waterproof. Blank page. Oh, I bought myself, I like the CSY, that is right, watercolours. So I don't actually know where the other set is. Oh no, it is there. So I have a gold set. I have the fruit, I can't remember which one it was. I think it's fruit set. And then I have an orange set, and that was me swatching my orange set. Oh, and this, the size of my ginormous pencil case. I ended up changing my pencil cases because my other one wasn't fitting all of my favourite supplies anymore. So, ginormous pencil case to the rescue. This pen, I mean, it's had a few ink encounters now, but this is my favourite pencil. It's, I don't know, because it's so thick, I have such great control over it. Like other pencils, if you'll see, I have a callus on this hand, this finger, because of how tight of a grip I have on pencils. Like pens, like ink illustrations actually hurt my hand. At school, writing hurt as well because I have such a strong grip. And I know you can say, well, just don't hold it that tightly, but it's just for some reason I do it to get control. But this one, I don't know, just because of the size that it is, I just have great control and just way smooth. I don't know, I just love this pencil. And when this pencil, obviously, you know, is too short to use anymore, I would definitely be buying another one because I adore that pencil. Right, moss. I can't remember which one it was, but this was wasn't Inktober. It was another challenge on Cara that you did for that month, but it wasn't Inktober. But I was going to do the illustrations in ink, even though it wasn't Inktober. Very long story. So yeah, the first one was moss, and I like it, but the problem is all of this, the darker bits, so much more like your eye is drawn more to them. It's hard to even tell that this is moss up the tree. Like that was meant to be the main focus, but it just looks like background drawing. And then I was testing my ink. Maple. I like this painting. It's so simple, but I love how it turned out. So it's meant to be a maple leaf sitting in a puddle. So it was. I really like it. Chrysanthemum. I've spelt that wrong. I know I have. And then I was testing. I think I was using some new markers for it, or some markers I hadn't used for a while. So it's very loose and very free. I can't really say you can tell that they're meant to be chrysanthemum. What? I can't say it and I can't spell it. But it's kind of cute. It's kind of sweet. Weeping Willow. I like this one. if this one was my ink and watercolour technique again, but I adore how this one turned out. Although the only thing is, this white gel pen here on this line was supposed to be just a way to add more trees in the background, but it looks like I've drawn around the willow leaves itself, and I can't unsee it. And then this was me just practicing a little thumbnail on how I was going to plan out painting this. And Dahlia. I don't think I posted this one on Cara, actually. I can't remember why. I think I didn't post it because it looked so much like the maple leaf. Seems silly really now. I could have still posted it, but I didn't. Oh, I love this one, Pine. I actually really like how this one turned out. It's very loose. You can tell it's definitely loose, but I love how this one turned out. Winterberry. I like how this one turned out as well, actually. I want to say Crayola, maybe. I can't quite remember what I used. It doesn't look quite like watercolours because of the way it's mixed together. It might have been Crayola and fountain pen rather than watercolour than fountain pen. Oh yeah, kelp. I didn't post this one. So my idea was to paint the kelp this bright yellow and then do a really dark, almost, not quite, but almost black background. And then sort of like do a blending technique, kind of a blending technique, so the kelp looked like it was really glowing in the darkness of the depths of water, of the sea, or wherever I was imagining that I was putting it, and I did some bubbles. But as you can see, it didn't work out. The background is not dark, the kelp is mush, so I didn't post that one. I didn't post this one either, wheat. It was just a background, a watercolour background with some poorly drawn wheat. I did like this one, Cactus. Again, you'll notice all of my favourite ones again always come back to the fountain and watercolour technique. So I really like this one. It's very simple, but it works. Pomegranate. Oh, jeez. So this is literally just watercolour. It's the Shore and Marsh watercolour set. Yeah, and I just like how it turns out. I love how I managed to do the middle bit because I was very self-conscious about that because I don't have a steady hand when it comes to painting small details, but I managed to do it so I left white so it looks like it's the flesh of the fruit. So these are the other two cars. The car as well, these are all, you'll notice all the ones that have the names are me writing down what that day was. Plantober. There we go. Plantober. It was Plantober I was doing, and I said I was going to do it in ink because it was Plantober in Inktober month, October, but I didn't. I did Plantober, and I also didn't carry on doing them only in ink. So this one was a very simple, sweet one. This one was so fun. It was just dabbing yellow and then adding some green to it, some green stems. And then this I remember this one. It was getting dark. And I remember I was painting it without the light turned on. So I was painting it in the afternoon and slowly it was getting to the evening. And I remember I finished the painting in the dark. Not pitch black, but dark enough to not know what the colours were. And I can't remember why. And I remember when I finally turned the lights on, I thought, oh, the colours look quite good, since the fact I couldn't see what I was painting with. And I look back and I think, just turn the light on. Just turn the light on then. Dragon Blood Tree. I had never heard of this tree. You know, kudos to Plantober because I never would have known this tree's existence. It's such a fascinating tree. So my drawing isn't that detailed, my painting isn't that detailed, but the branches like carry on. You can see the branches connecting to the leaves part, and it's so interesting. Look it up, please. Like, look it up. It's a fascinating tree. Anyway, so again, ink and watercolour. I don't think I posted this. A lemon tree. It's meant to be loose and just ended up just not working out how I planned to. That's how I planned it. Cherry blossom, unfortunately, just didn't get painted for some reason. Bamboo, I was going to do in the first part of my sketchbook, when I did the other loose bamboo, I was basically going to do the exact same painting, same technique kind of thing. It just ended up being a sketch. Here we go. So these are pastel paint sticks, and these were just in my local supermarket that I get grocery shopping from, where we get our groceries from. And they were obviously they were advertised as kids paint sticks, and they were quite cheap, so I took a chance on them, and I'm so glad that I did. So here is me doing an iris, and you can see they don't touch. I was very like timid and a bit insecure about how they worked, so I wasn't blending them. I was kind of blending them but not really, so I didn't post this one, so you can see they're not blended. So this one was when I did I did this one, sorry, then I did this one, and I blended them a little bit more confidently, and then I realized that they could blend, and then I did the sunset idea where I was putting all the colors together. And then this is the painting that I really like that I did with them. I actually ended up doing a sunset painting with them. So this was me just testing out which colours I wanted to use. Yeah, I just really like how that turned out. They blend so well. I couldn't believe it, because first I had no idea what paint sticks were. Second, they were in like the kids section, or like they were advertised for kids. And they're fantastic. I love them so much, and I must use them again, but I just love how they blend, and they dry so quickly, and they don't rub off or anything. I mean, maybe they do a little, but and then the moon was just ink, I believe. It was a little an ink with a paintbrush that I added on top. It was supposed to be pumpkin for Plantober. It didn't become one. Cheap watercolors. So this painting, this whole spread is on my channel, where I went for cheap watercolors that were only 99p. Basically, I wanted to see what I could paint with them. You know, lots of people have done that challenge. It's not new. I'm not original, but I wanted to try it, so I did a video for it. So if you're interested in seeing that, you can go ahead and watch it. Oh, okay. So, and then the paint sticks, I wanted to do a really big gradient page. It didn't work out the way it started working out, and then I think I got bored. I got bored in the end. Oh, and this was done on the 14th of the 11th, and obviously, you know, my Christmas paintings for my channel that I wanted to do were starting to, you know, get closer, so I was practicing some paintings and what I wanted to do. So that this is these, and then I do believe that's the end of the sketchbook, because the rest, there's just like a couple of pages. I say a couple, there's quite a few pages left that I didn't finish, but I started my new sketchbook, my current sketchbook, somewhere in between this part, I believe. So yeah, and then in here, which I will still use, I bought loads of just like little, there's some nature stickers in there, there's some butterfly stickers, there's some fake postal stamp stickers, like little scrapbooking things that I will be using, but I just wanted a place to keep them so I didn't lose them, so they're just in the back of my sketchbook. And there we go. Look how thick that sketchbook is. I don't think I've ever had a sketchbook actually. Maybe I have, I don't know, maybe I'm lying. I think maybe one of my other ones might have done. Anyway, sorry, that was side one. Anyway, so thank you all so much for watching. If you're still here and you stuck with me, I know it was a long video of me talking non-stop, but I hope you enjoyed the tour. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.